Joining us to talk about it this morning, he is a political strategist, commentator, Young Voices. Samuel Mangold-Lenett joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. Samuel, thanks for being with us.
Hey, thanks for having me. How's it going?
Going pretty good. So, taking the 30,000-foot view and looking at it objectively, what and who do you think actually came out ahead, or at least gained some ground, or did well?
So I think the clear winner, frankly, I think the only winner of the debate was Donald Trump, who, like as you said, wasn't attending. But I think he's the only one who's going to come away from this as the clear definitive winner, because he's the story no matter what happens. It's going to be framed around him. His absence was so very tangible that people can't help but frame it around him. He also is still so dominant in the polls. I think the best performance was Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yeah,
I think he presented the best and most dynamic vision. Well, he had the most electric performance of the night, which I think is based off of Donald Trump and Donald Trump's performance in 2016. Because now we actually want showmanship in debates. But I think he presented the most dynamic and most dynamic vision for the United States moving forward, and most accurately diagnosed the issues we're facing, while assessing the concerns of his assessing the concerns of the Republican base. I think after that, it'd be Ron DeSantis, who is a master of the issues, assessed everything with nuance, and accurately so. Whereas everybody else seems to be running in a presidential primary from either 2008 or 2012. It's not the time to talk about tax cuts. Yeah, Bidenomics, or whatever we want to call it, are failing the country. There's a lot of economic pain right now. But as Vivek said, this is a moment of darkness. We're in a cold civil war. And until that gets addressed first and thoroughly, things aren't going to get better. And just saying we need to cut taxes is not enough to fix it's not enough to save the republic. It just simply is not. But Vivek was able to say, no, we're going to do X, Y, Z with energy, and that will then do A, B, C to get things back on track, and we can do the whole other things with that. And DeSantis was able to similarly paint a vision with some policy nuance.
Okay, so I have to ask, because last night, what was noticeable was really the other seven, and when I say the other seven, I'm talking about everybody but with the exception of Vivek. They all came at him pretty darn hard, which leads me to believe that they've been looking at their own inside polling that shows this guy is a real threat to them. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I think so. This guy came out of nowhere, frankly. Sure, he's been a media presence for a while. He's been doing the podcast circuit. He's been going like the Turning Point USA and speaking to students. And so he's developed a name for himself. He has a lot of recognition, but his candidacy, I think, took a lot of people by surprise. Nobody thought he was going to be anything serious. I certainly didn't think he was a serious candidate. I thought he was going to do it to kind of, then run for Senate in Ohio. I didn't think he was actually going to be a serious presidential contender. But, he's got a lot of wind in his sails. And I think a lot of these candidates ought to be concerned. Like I said, it's not 2012 or 2008. So I think they are right to be worried about his presence on the stage. Okay.
So we're talking about, maybe who gained the most ground among the 8 that were on stage. Who do you think really tanked?
Tanked?
Yeah, who tanked?
Yeah, Asa Hutchinson fell on his face. His candidacy was never serious to begin with, but he bombed. I think, this isn't. Most of the people, 6 of the 8 people on the stage, have so horribly misdiagnosed the situation they're in that they just don't know what to really talk talk about. But I think Asa Hutchinson is in this solely to, boost his media profile and sell books, probably. I think Asa Hutchinson, he can't have that big of a donor base to begin with. He's polling horribly. I think he tanked his chances of moving forward. Not that I think he's going to go forward to begin with. I think Tim Scott really underperformed. He wasn't doing that well to begin with. But he didn't really show up to the debate. He had some moments, but there was not a whole lot of him there. I think Chris Christie isn't going to have much of a showing after this. I could be wrong because he is an energetic candidate, and he is able to excite people just with his sheer aggression. But I don't know. I think those are the three that stand out most to me with kind of deflating their candidacies.
All right. Hey, we appreciate you joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. Thank you, Samuel.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Samuel Mangold-Lenett on the Wake Up